The dust still hung between them, drifting like faint snowfall through jagged shafts of moonlight. I stood completely still, every breath suddenly feeling too bright, too sharp in the cold air. For a heartbeat, I wondered if this was all a hallucination. But no, his presence was unmistakable. Lan Wangji. He stood just a few steps away, his robes pale as frost in the shadows. His eyes, clear, steady, and quietly searching, rested on me with an unreadable expression. Not anger, not shock. Something quieter, deeper. The cold wind slipped through the broken windows, making the ends of his forehead ribbons stir. That simple movement felt like an entire world shifting. I found myself smiling, though the sight of him ached somewhere deep inside me. Lanzan. Truly, what a place for a reunion. He didn't respond right away. His gaze moved from my face to the floorboards, then toward the faint traces of energy clinging to the walls. You should not be here, he finally said, his voice low and even. I raised a brow. Neither should you, I assume. He didn't deny it. Instead, he stepped past me and knelt to examine a faint spiritual mark burned into the wood. The energy pulsed faintly, like the last beats of a dying heart. I recognized it instantly, the signature of something restrained too tightly for too long. I crouched beside him, ignoring the stiffness of this new, weak body. This place has a secret. I smelled it the moment I woke up. His eyes flicked toward me again with a quiet intensity. You sensed it? Of course. I tapped the floor gently. Who else do you think the resentment here would whisper to? Something in his jaw tightened for just a moment, then the emotion was gone. The mark on the floor pulsed again, releasing a cold wave that crawled up the walls. The air thickened, carrying a faint metallic scent, not unlike fresh blood. I stood up, brushing dust from my hands. There's something sealed in this manor. Something the Mo family has no idea they're living with. Lan Wangji rose too, his robes falling in smooth lines. Not sealed, he corrected quietly. Bound. I blinked. Oh? And you recognize that so quickly? He didn't answer, but the slight shift of his eyes told me enough. He had been tracking this long before he ever stepped into this manor. Before either of us could speak again, a sharp scream ripped through the stillness. It was a woman's voice, panicked and brittle. Lan Wangji moved instantly, his steps precise, barely making a sound. I hesitated for only a moment before following, my instincts as strong as ever. The scream led us to the far side of the manor, near the courtyard. A lantern lay smashed on the ground. The woman who'd snapped at me earlier stumbled back, her eyes wide with terror. A shadow loomed behind her. It was a corpse puppet jerking forward in unnatural, shuddering movements. It hissed, its jaw opening too wide as it reached for her. I moved first, hooking an arm around her and pulling her away just as the corpse lunged. Lan Wangji stepped between us, calm as passing wind. His sleeve flicked, and a barrier of spiritual force slammed into the creature's chest, sending it skidding backward. It crashed into a pile of crates but stood again, twitching violently. The woman clung to me, trembling. It got out! We kept it tied up. Why did it break free now? I watched the puppet with narrowed eyes. Its movements weren't random. That's no simple corpse puppet, I murmured. Someone has been meddling. The puppet lunged again. Lan Wangji stepped forward, but I touched his arm lightly. Let me! His eyes flickered with clear refusal. I smiled faintly. I'm not the same as before. But I'm still me. I stepped ahead. The corpse shrieked. With a smooth twist, I kicked off the ground, sliding under its swinging arm. My hand brushed the talisman plastered on its back, faded and poorly drawn. One wrong stroke, I said softly, and look what you've become. I pressed a finger against the sigil and flicked. The entire talisman crumbled to ash. The puppet collapsed instantly, a lifeless doll. Silence fell. The woman stared at me in shock. How did you? Mo Xuanyu never. I let her go. People change. Lan Wangji approached the fallen corpse. This puppet was controlled from afar, someone nearby. My smile faded. I thought so. I stepped closer to him, lowering my voice. This manor is crawling with resentment. Someone either awakened it, or is being devoured by it. He gave a barely perceptible nod. And you? I blinked. Me? You sense it too easily. His gaze held an emotion I couldn't name. Too naturally, I looked away. Old habits die hard. His voice softened, hardly noticeable. Or never die at all. More voices approached. The Mo family drawn by the scream. They froze at the sight of Lan Wangji and the collapsed corpse, but it was me they stared at hardest. I could feel the shift in the air: fear, confusion, suspicion. Someone whispered, "How did he?" Another muttered, "He's dangerous." I lifted my chin slightly. "You're welcome." Lan Wangji stepped subtly between me and the family, a quiet barrier, as if shielding me from their stares. I felt an unexpected warmth in my chest. Before anyone could speak again, the ground trembled. Just a small shake, but enough to send dust falling from the beams above. The corpse puppet twitched, even though its talisman was gone. Lan Wangji's hand rested near his sleeve, ready. My eyes darkened. That wasn't from this creature. A pulse of resentment rippled across the manor like the breath of something awakening beneath the floors. Something old, powerful, starving. The Mo family backed away in fear as a chill swept through the courtyard. Lanterns flickered wildly, then extinguished with a loud hiss. The shadows thickened, swirling like smoke. Lan Wangji stepped closer to me, our shoulders nearly touching. "We should move," he said quietly. I nodded. "Yes, but not away." I looked toward the abandoned wing where it had all begun. "We go deeper." He turned to me fully, moonlight catching the pale line of his jaw. "Together." My heart skipped a beat, but I forced a grin. "Lanzan, are you asking to cooperate with me?" A flicker of emotion passed through his eyes. "No," I laughed. "I'll pretend I didn't hear that." We walked toward the dark corridor side by side, the air growing colder with each step. The manor behind us trembled with fear. The shadows shifted restlessly. Whatever waited in the depths of the abandoned wing had sensed both of us, and it was ready.